What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching today. My name is Michael Baxi. If this is your first time joining us, smash that subscribe button. If you're into anything automobiles, especially tuner cars, this is the spot for you. So today, this video is hopefully going to be airing after my last track day, which was at Laguna Seca. If you guys caught that video, unfortunately my day got caught short. So today we're going to be addressing another couple of issues that I had on track, both in the first time I took it out to the track and the second time I took it out on track. One being the second gear grind and the fourth gear lockout. So I thought I would be able to fix it with the Acuity shifter upgrade. It was still there during my Laguna Seca track day, and I ran into some brake issues at Laguna Seca as well. I'm going to show that to you in a minute. Let's get started. Alright, so take a look at that rear brake caliper there. That is Type R red, as it should be. Now look at the front caliper. That is black. It is blacked out from the extreme heat the last time I was on the track. So we're gonna see Dr. Drew today, make sure everything is good with the caliper, and make sure this doesn't happen again. Let me show you what goodies I have going on to the car. Okay, so since we basically boiled the brake fluid from last time, and I'm actually grateful that I had this stuff in there. So we're going to change out the brake fluid again, because once you boil the brake fluid, it's pretty much done. Water gets absorbed into the liquid, and then the brakes become squishier on track. That's a really bad thing. Actually, my brake pedal went all the way down to the floor while I was on the track, but I was able to limp off before that became a big problem. So we're going to go back to this stuff, because having this stuff in the car when that happened really saved it from being worse, and I'll explain a little more about that in a second. Went over to Sakebomb Garage in Fremont and picked up these really nice stainless steel brake lines. We're gonna go see them and do a little walk around their shop a little more in depth, probably in a couple of weeks or so, but they make really quality stuff, this being one of them that's gonna go in the car today. And then to address the second gear grind and fourth gear lockout, in here is a modified clutch master cylinder. The delay valve has been modified on this. If you guys want more information, you want me to go a little bit more in depth on that, I can. But basically between this right here and the GM synchro mesh that will be going into the transmission as well, that should now eliminate any of the second gear grind or fourth gear lockout issues. So while we're at it, we're gonna go in there and put this Acuity shifter bushing in as well. That's the last remaining piece that I did not put in my Acuity Stage 3 shifter kit. Figure while he's in there doing all that, I can have him do that, so let's get to it. Alright, so a little more on what happened with my brakes at Laguna Seca. So Laguna Seca is known to be really hard on brakes. Little bit of human error there, because the rotors were put on the wrong side. I have gyro discs. They're directional rotors. The left side was on the right side, the right was on the left, and therefore the vanes inside of the rotors couldn't properly cool the brakes. So that was definitely one of the major issues there. Part of it is also because of my driving style. I'm really aggressive on the brakes, and you know, that's something I need to address more as a driver mod than anything, as I learn to get quicker and quicker on track. But the other thing that I want to talk about is, because I had the gyro discs and the Castrol SRF brake fluid, it's racing brake fluid, I think I got saved from what could have been potentially a really big disaster. The SRF brake fluid, even though it came to a boil, was able to recover and hold together better and hold together longer while I was on the track and I was starting to lose my brakes. So I'll explain to you a little bit more about what happened there. When I was on the track, after I think it was turn 4 and 5, I felt my brake pedal start to get a little bit soft and it started to compress down a little closer to the floor. Now by the time I got to turn 8 and 9, the brake pedal was almost all the way down to the floor. By the time I got to turn 10, it was all the way gone. Brake pedal was all the way to the ground. But thankfully, when I felt the brakes start to get a little mushy, I backed off of the car and I started to slow down already. So this is an important thing for you guys to keep note of. If something feels off on your car, slow down. You know, especially in a track environment, because you're doing very, very high speeds, going around turns very quickly. It's a lot safer to just let people pass you and slow down and make sure something bigger doesn't happen. What I will say is, if I was on the stock brake setup, the stock rotors are not directionally vaned, so the cooling issue may not have been as prominent. But just to say, if it happened on the stock rotors and stock brake pads and stock brake fluid, the progression from having brake and all the way down to the floor and having no brake would have been probably a lot quicker. So I'm thankful that I had at least that SRF brake fluid and the WinMax brake pads and the gyro discs in there. I think it gave me enough time to realize what was going on and slow down before something like a major accident happened on the course. So grateful for all that. We're going to address all of those issues today. Hopefully the grinding issue with the transmission is going to go away as well. We're going to give all this stuff to Dr. Drew, and then I'll give you guys a driving impression at some point here. Okay, so here we are the day after the install of the shifter cable bushing. We put some fresh Castrol SRF race brake fluid in. We got the rotor switched over to the right side. We switched out the transmission fluid too. This in theory should alleviate any of the shifting problems that is known to be had in the Civic Type R. We're gonna go take it for a drive right now and I'll give you my impressions. Let's go. The biggest issue with the Honda Civic Type R transmission is the grind into second gear, and at least for me on a track, fourth gear lockout. I know a few other people have experienced that as well. I did the Acuity Stage 3 full shifter upgrade, which is an amazing piece of machinery, but that did not unfortunately fix the issue. It did make the driving pleasure all that much better, but did not fix the main issue that I was going for. But just regular driving, it was noticeable right off the bat, and I think it's fair to say that you really don't notice just how notchy the stock transmission is before doing these changes that I've just done. But now the gears just go right into gear, no problem at all. It just slides into first, slides into second. There's not really any hesitation. It doesn't feel like it's got any friction up against the sidewall or the shifter gate or anything like that. It feels really good and super precise. It was always a good shifter, but now that the synchro mesh has been changed, the new fluid, the delay valve delete, it feels really good, guys. It feels great, in fact. You know, I would even go as far to say, if you aren't having issues with second gear grind or fourth gear lockout, because of how much better this feels now, I would even say just go ahead and do it, because it feels that much better. I mean, it's super quick and super smooth, and with the Acuity Stage 3 in there, I mean, it's flick, it's amazing. This is definitely starting to give me more confidence in shifting quicker up and down through the gears again, which I was lacking a little bit because of the transmission shifting issues I was having. Alright, so here we go, accelerating onto the freeway, get a better sense of quick shifts. Yeah, that is just way, way better. Way better, guys. I feel like I can just throw it into whatever gear I want at any point, and I'm starting to regain my confidence in being able to do that without catching a lockout or a grind. And now that this is set up the way it is, I can tell you there's absolutely a difference between even just regular normal shifting versus what it was before I made all the changes. I mean, it is definitely smoother, quicker, it feels more precise, definitely confidence inspiring, which is what I was hoping for. Now, if I had to nitpick at any one thing, I would say the stock transmission was probably the biggest letdown in this car, just because everything else in this vehicle, the engine, the suspension, the chassis, is just so amazing. And then to have it all limited by the transmission because you're not sure if you're going to miss a shift or grind a gear, it's not a good feeling to have. But now that it is the way it is, man, I can't wait to get this back on a track and see what it really feels like. Alright, so we'll wrap it up here for today's video. I didn't go much into the brake feel with the steel brake lines that were installed, the Sakebomb brake lines. Really nice piece, because I think that will be more appropriately reviewed on the racetrack. Just to wrap up my thoughts on the video today, I'll tell you that the transmission has never felt this good. It was not bad from the factory, but it is absolutely amazing now. So I got another track day coming up soon. I'll update you when I have that. And as always, stay hungry, stay fast, stay tuned. I'm Michael Baxley, and I'm out.
I see a day to see a job is what it made me. Shit me thinking bravery. See it's modern slavery. 9 to 5, grind and strive. Fucking nigga pay me less. It pay my bills at minimal, but see it pay me stress. Doing this, doing that, and turn around and scold you true. How I did it wrong when I just did it like you told me to.